Hello and welcome to Careers with the Morrow Motor Group. I start by acknowledging that this event is being held on the traditional lands of the Watchabollock, Jadwa, Jadwajali, Wagaya and Jabulk people, and I acknowledge all the different Aboriginal countries videoing in today. I pay my respects to the elders past and present and any Aboriginal people attending this event. Today's session is being moderated and recorded with strict assurances to maintain the privacy of all attendees. This is in accordance with the principles of the Privacy Act, in line with the Department of Education and Training advice. As we go along, if you wish to make a comment or ask a question, please use the Q&A function located at the bottom of your screen. We'll address these questions at the end of the session. I'd now like to introduce you to our presenter for today, the Director of Morrow Motors, Mr. Gavin Morrow. Welcome, Gavin.
Thank you very much, and welcome to this webinar on the automotive industry. I'll just tell you a little bit about myself initially. I've been in the automotive industry now for 37 years, so I left school just after finishing year 10, so I left relatively early in my schooling life, and the reason being is because I knew what I wanted to do. I was going to work in the family business, so I started work at Morrow Motors in Warwick-Nabil, and at that stage, because it was a family business, my intention was to spend a bit of time in each department of the business, and then end up in the manager's role in years to follow. So, as I said, I left pretty early. I was pretty green, and I started off working in the parts department, and I was going to learn how the parts department worked, but unfortunately, I only lasted there about 2 weeks. Someone left in the administration area, and I moved into the administration area and started just answering the phones and doing receipts and things like that, any administration tasks. And then I ended up going in and doing more accounting work and learning how the financial side of the business operated. I didn't do an apprenticeship. There was sort of no apprenticeship at that time in the area I was going to do. So I was basically just being self-taught within the business. Jumping ahead, my role now is that I'm the dealer principal of Morrow Motor Group, so I share that role with one of my brothers. So we're a family business. There's 3 brothers that work within the business. So the dealer principal role I share with my brother Wade, and my other brother Shannon is the service manager of the business. Moving on, so within our dealership, we've got quite a number of branches within the business. So obviously we've got new and used car sales, servicing, parts, finance, administration, and then breaking it down even further, we do truck hire and window tinting. So in saying that, we've got around 26 employees that work within the business in all those areas. And in the automotive industry, you've got a lot of different roles within that. So someone can come into the business, for example, as a detailer, and then they might end up going into parts sales, and then they could end up being a car salesperson. So there's lots of different roles within the business. We employ, we currently have about 4 apprentices for a motor mechanic in our business. And we generally put a newer motor vehicle apprentice on every year. So we keep on training them. And I guess over the 46 years that we've been in the business, I reckon we would have trained well over 50 apprentices over that time. If we move on to our philosophy of the business, we've got a saying in our business that we're committed to customer satisfaction. And I guess what that's trying to say to our client base is that, you know, that we really try to give you good service. in any business, you've always got competition. And so you've got to have something that makes you stand out different to everyone else. So we try and have a philosophy where we really try and look after our customers. So that's something that's our priority. That's also, we try and make it the priority of our staff, and make sure that they understand that, you know, it's this is something we really try and do to the best of our ability. Together with the philosophy, it sort of works in together with your culture, and the culture of your business is really important for two reasons. The culture is important working within the business. So we think, you know, well, our business is only as good as the staff that we employ. So we always try and employ the best possible person we can. And it doesn't matter whether that's a young person straight out of school or someone that's been working for 10 years somewhere else. If we see a good young kid come out of school that's got the basics right, that we can train everything else, we'll go for the younger person. You know, the expectations that we look at when we're looking at employing someone, or the things that we look at, when someone interviews or applies for a position, you know, we might look at some of the things like, we might jump on your Facebook page, your social media page, and have a look at the things that you've been saying on social media. So that's probably one tip, you know, going through school. Just be mindful of what you're saying on social media, because it could come back at you when you are looking at a job, because employers are doing that now. So that's just something to be mindful of. The other things that we convey to our staff is that it's not just when you're working at work, your behaviour is also monitored after hours as well. And that could mean driving around the streets like a lunatic. When people see you in our small communities, they automatically align. If you're doing that at night, that's probably what you're going to be doing at work during the day. So that could potentially stop someone coming to our business because they've seen you hooning around at night time. So your behaviours after hours are as important as what they are during work hours. We try to do things where we have people working long term, and by that I mean we've got staff here that have been working here for 25 years, which is pretty rare today. So we're very proud of that, and I think that goes towards, you know, that we employ the right people. In our service department, we've got three new car brands: Nissan, Mazda, and Hyundai. But we do service all brands of vehicle. So when in the service department, the type of work that we're doing is mainly like oil changes and scheduled servicing. We do warranty repairs when the vehicles are under warranty. We do roadworthy certificates. So whenever a used vehicle changes hands, we're required to get a roadworthy certificate on each vehicle. So we do a lot of that for anyone. And then, you know, we do more serious repairs like engine rebuilds or brakes and air conditioning regassing, and things like injectors and fuel pumps in diesel engines. So it's a really important part of our business, and it's probably, so we've got about 14 people employed just in the service department. So it's a really important part of our business. Within the service department, we've also got an administration side, so it's just not mechanics. It's we've got two girls that work in the administration side, and then within the service department, we've also got a window tinter and two detailers. So there is a bit of variety in the workshop as well. Well, in the parts department, we've got we employ two full-time parts people. Well, they call them parts interpreters. And again, this is a fairly interesting role. So we've got one guy that's been here 27 years and another guy that we've just replaced who'd been here for about 12 years. So our second guy's only been with us for just over a year. and it's a pretty crucial part of the business as well, and they're kept very busy. Looking at, just going back to the service department for a sec in regards to apprenticeships. So with apprenticeships, you start off, the apprenticeship is a four-year training. So 3 years where you go to trade school and work in the dealership, and then the 4th year is purely at the dealership. So obviously the first year, there's a lot of learning involved. So the first year you'd probably be placed with a qualified technician and learn what they're doing. So it's basically learning, getting your processes right. It's really a process-driven job now. So you do a lot of oil changes and just getting the process right to make sure you don't make any mistakes. And then as you progress through your training, you start getting advanced into electrical diagnosis, learning how to diagnose faults, how to read wiring diagrams, and you keep on progressing until you start doing engine rebuilds and everything like that. Another part of the service department is the window tinting department. Because we're in such a hot climate, most people are getting window tint on their cars now, so that's also become a big part of our business as well. Again, we've got one person that does this role, and the training for this is, training's probably only for about 2 weeks, and then people are right to go. So if that's something that interests you on that side of it, we're happy to talk to anyone about that as well. Another part is our detailing side. So we employ two detailers, and these guys run every day. So I reckon there's a lot of job satisfaction in detailing, because we can trade in a car in that's very dirty and grubby inside. Someone may not have loved it as much as they do other things. So it'll come into the detailing department, and these guys will make it shiny and looking really good again. So when they present a car after they've finished it, I reckon there's a lot of job satisfaction in that role. So it's cleaning. Their job is cleaning new cars for delivery and also preparing used cars or trade-ins. And as I said, because cars are forever changing, it doesn't get boring, and they don't get time to get bored either. So again, it's also an important part of our business, the detailing side. Looking at the apprentices of an automotive technician, one thing you've got to remember: when you become an automotive technician, the wages are reasonably low at the start, and I just want to explain that. When you go to university, you're training quite often for 4 years without getting paid. So when you become an automotive technician in an apprenticeship, you're actually getting paid, not a great wage at the start, because you're away getting trained, and you're not very productive for the first year or two. So that's why the wage is low, but it builds every year. Just to give you a bit of an indication of what the wages are, if you come into an apprenticeship and you haven't completed year 12, your wage starts at $431 a week, and then goes to $517 the second year, $646 the third, and $759 on your 4th year. Once you're qualified, you're probably looking at $850, $900 a week after that. So it really depends on the individual person, though, because some people put their head down and get stuck into the study and get qualified a lot quicker. If we can see that this person's really trying, your wage can probably jump up a bit quicker than what other people's can. So it's really up to you and how hard you're willing to work. The other thing you get is you also get a tool allowance as well on top of that. So that just allows you to keep updating your tools and helping you have the right equipment to do jobs quicker. As you can see on the screen there, this is our photo in our workshop with the different hoists that we use for different vehicles. And you probably see the tool kits that are near some of the hoists. So every mechanic has their own tool kit and is responsible for those, and that helps them get through the job with the tools they require. Moving on to car sales, as I said before, we've got 3 brands, and the three new brands, we're pretty lucky. We've got good brands that are very popular at the moment in both the passenger, SUV and commercial range. So we have 3 full-time salespeople. Our salespeople are responsible for selling both new and used cars. The industry average is around, but we expect each salesman to sell around, 12 cars a month each. Some of our guys are probably up closer to 20, which is good. So the training for a car salesperson, again, there's no real apprenticeship. We do most of our training on site with a little bit of training in Melbourne, like day trips to Melbourne for training. So the important part of a salesperson is product knowledge. You've got to know your product. So we do a lot of training nearly every week on product knowledge, so we know about our product. You also get to take people on test drives of the vehicles. You explain the features and the benefits of the vehicle. Negotiate the price, appraise their trade-in if there is any, and organise delivery of the car. So there's a process again that we follow, and it's all about making the purchase of a new or used car for someone as easy as we possibly can. We don't want it to become a chore or not enjoyable. We want it to make a very enjoyable experience. Within the car sales process, we also have finance and insurance. So we employ one person in that role that helps people get finance for their car and also insurance as well. So most people finance their car when they're purchasing their car. Some people can pay cash, but most people finance. So at the moment, we're very lucky that the interest rates are very, very low, so it's not expensive to finance a car at the moment. To give you a bit of an idea, some people are paying 5 to 8% interest to finance a car. When I left school, the finance rate was 18%. So that was what we were used to back then, and that was pretty horrendous. If it got to 18% now, it would be a different world. So yeah, we're very lucky with low interest rates at the moment. We have a few pathways to be able to work into our business. We have school-based apprenticeships. So generally in the automotive technician side. So we have a couple of school-based apprentices work here every week. Sometimes we get, we encourage people, if you're thinking of getting into a career, we're quite open for you to come in and do a week's work experience, just to get a taste of whether that's something that you like, and we'll give you some feedback how we think you've gone as well. So the sort of things that employers look for are work ethic. Are you someone that just stands around and watches, wants to be on your phone all the time? And if we see that sort of behaviour, that's not the sort of person that we want. We want someone that's has got a good work ethic, and then we can train the rest. So schooling is probably become more important than what it was when I left school. We really encourage kids to at least do year 11 and sometimes year 12. but we think that's year 11 is definitely a minimum now before we look at taking anyone on. And the reason is it's for their benefit. It'll make their training easier if they've done that.
Sorry, Gavin, just to interrupt. If you've got questions or comments, participants, if you'd just like to pop those into the Q&A function at the top there. I see a couple have got your hand raised. If you just pop your comments in the Q&A function, I can have a look at them from now.
Yeah. With resumes or applications to a job, I want you to look at it as from an employer's perspective. So if there's a job that you're wanting to apply for and they've asked to send in your resume, you've got to understand that as an employer, we might get 20 resumes. So we've got to, if we get 20 resumes and they all look the same, we've got to find something that differentiates or makes yours stand out. So it's important to get your resume right and try and do something a little bit different to what maybe other people have done. Some things that and that might be coming in and saying, look, I'd really like to work here. Can I come and work here for a week? And get your foot in the door that way. That's and that sets something up against another potential employee that's just a little bit different. That's probably the main thing there. Happy to answer any questions.
We have got a couple of questions there. Can you hear me, Gavin?
Yeah.
A couple of students would like to know, is there an apprenticeship open at the moment?
Potentially. This COVID thing has changed things for us a little bit, to be honest. We have got someone that's been doing coming and doing a school-based apprenticeship, and our intention is to put them on at the end of the year. I would say we'll probably be making our decision whether we do that maybe a little bit later in the year, to be honest. It's just too hard to make that decision at the moment, but possibly.
Also, are you taking on any work placements at the moment?
Yeah, we'd look at that for sure.
We've also got a student who's currently completing an ag apprenticeship and was wondering if they could transfer to cars, or would they have to start again? No,
the pathway for ag and automotive is very similar, particularly at the start. So a lot of those things cross over, so you could transfer that over.
Excellent, thank you. We'll move on.
So yeah, I spoke a little bit about the wages for an apprentice before. I guess we've got some staff here that have started off being an apprentice in our organisation, and then have gone through to become a qualified mechanic, and then they've gone through and now become service managers. So within our dealership, there's potential there to grow and change positions within the dealership. So we had a guy that started with us as a detailer, and then he became an accessory fitter, and then he became a parts interpreter but stayed within our business. So there's lots of different things that you can do within the organisation as well. An important part of our business is that we want to be a really big supporter of our community, and we support a lot of sporting roles and schools, cancer research centres, hospitals, local ag shows. We do a lot of that, and the reason we get involved with that is because we sell a lot of cars right across the Wimmera Mallee. So because we get support from those areas, we feel we've got an obligation to support them back. So that's why we get involved with the community, and you know, with our staff, we encourage them to be involved in whether it's a service club, scouts, guides, any of those. And even when we're looking at employing people, if you're involved in some of those organisations, that tells us a little bit about you as well. That, you know, you're thinking of your community, and that goes a big way to getting up the list of people that we'd want to employ. You know, our passion is obviously, we've got a passion for our staff. We feel like they're part of our family, and we treat them as such. And we've also, I've got a personal passion for mental health. Mental health is becoming a pretty important part of our life, and so, you know, I work in a community group that sort of helps with mental health. So that's a bit of a passion for mine.
I have another question, Gavin. Are you involved in the Speedway?
Yeah, we do donate money to the Horsham Speedway as well. Yeah, so yeah, we sponsor an event there each season.
Excellent.
What else have we got? Maybe I'll just talk a bit more about the wages as well. So when someone comes to work, starts work, the average working week is a 38-hour week. So we work for 38 hours. We have an hour off for lunch. An employer, we also give you superannuation. So we pay 9.5% of your wage into superannuation, which is saved up over your working life, and that ends up being going towards your retirement when you finish work. You also get 4 weeks annual leave for holidays, which can be taken throughout the year. So when you go on holidays, you're still actually getting paid. What else is there?
We've just got another question there, someone wanting to know what sort of car do you drive?
Good question. Look, I drive a variety of different cars. I'm currently driving a Mazda CX-8 SUV at the moment, but I drive about probably 5 or 6 different cars over the year. So I could be in a Navara dual cab one week, Mazda 3 the next, a Hyundai Santa Fe after that. So I drive a lot of different cars, which makes it interesting.
Nice is the comment I've got in the box there. So we've got someone who approves.
Great. And look, if anyone's interested in a role or anything in our business, I'm happy for anyone, if they want to call in and see us anytime, they're most welcome to do that. Whether it's in service or admin or car sales or finance, whatever it is.
Just one more question. Do you repair other company cars? So, or do you only repair the cars that you, the brands that you sell?
Yeah, no, we service all brands. So because we used to have a Holden dealership, we used to have a Toyota dealership, we used to have Suzuki. A lot of our mechanics are really up to speed on all brands. So we get a lot of different brands come in, Lexus and Toyota, Holden, Ford, Mercedes-Benz, all sorts.
Okay, well, that just about wraps us up for this morning's presentation. Thank you so much, Gavin. I think you've given us a fantastic overview of Morrow Motors, and there are certainly plenty of opportunities there for the right student.